Applying for an Australian student visa is a big deal. But when you want to bring your family, there's a whole other layer of complexity: the documents. Today, we are laser focused on exactly what you need for your partner, for your kids, or for a guardian. And let me tell you, getting this right is absolutely crucial. So let's get into it.
So, the dream is to study in Australia, and you want your loved ones right there with you. That's an amazing goal. But it means you have to navigate a very specific and sometimes tricky set of paperwork. This explainer is all about giving you the roadmap to get it done right the first time.
Okay, here's how we're going to break it all down. We'll kick things off with the special rules for students under 18, which are super important. Then we'll cover the proof you need for a partner and for any dependent kids. And to wrap it all up, we'll go through a final checklist so you feel confident when you submit. Let's go!
First things first, if you're the student applying for the visa and you are under 18, you need to know that the Australian government has some very strict requirements to make sure you're safe. Seriously, this part is non-negotiable, so you'll want to pay super close attention here. You're going to hear this term a lot: welfare arrangements. And let's be clear, this isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's a formal, required plan. It's the government's way of making sure there's a solid, approved structure for your care until you turn 18.
At the heart of all this is one thing: consent. Both of your parents or your legal guardians have to give their official thumbs up. That means you'll need Form 1229, signed by each of them. You'll also need your birth certificate that shows their names and copies of their photo IDs. And if only one parent has custody, you've got to have the legal paperwork to back that up.
So you've got 4 official ways to prove your welfare is sorted. Now, for most people, it's going to come down to one of 2 paths. Either your school issues a document called a Confirmation of Appropriate Accommodation and Welfare, or CAW for short, or you nominate a suitable guardian who is already in Australia.
Okay, so let's say you go the nominated guardian route. They have to tick 2 major boxes. On the one hand, there's their relationship to you. They have to be a parent, a legal custodian, or a close relative who's over 21. On the other hand, their status in Australia is just as important. They need to be a citizen, a permanent resident, or hold a proper visa, like the specific student guardian visa.
All right, let's switch gears and talk about bringing your partner along. Whether you're married or in a de facto relationship, it's all on you to provide solid, convincing evidence that your relationship is the real deal.
Now, what you need to show really depends on your status. If you're married, it's pretty straightforward. The marriage certificate is your golden ticket. But for de facto partners, you've got a bit more work to do. You have to build a case and prove that your relationship is genuine and ongoing. Which, of course, brings up the million-dollar question, right? What exactly does the Department of Home Affairs count as proof? It's not just one document. It's about using a whole collection of evidence to tell the complete story of your partnership.
And to tell that story well, think of it like building a case. You need to prove these 4 key things. These are like the 4 pillars of your relationship in the eyes of the government. Your evidence needs to show you're committed, your relationship is real and ongoing, you live together, and you're not related. Simple as that.
And hang on, here's a massive detail you absolutely cannot miss. On top of proving those 4 pillars, you also have to show you've been in this relationship for at least 12 months before you apply. The only way around this is if your relationship is officially registered with an Australian state or territory.
All right, now for everyone with kids, you can absolutely include them in your application. But just like with partners, the paperwork has to be perfect. No room for error here.
Okay, so for each and every child you're including, you're going to need their birth certificate or a family book that clearly shows the names of both parents. If your child is adopted, you'll need the official adoption papers. And, you guessed it, consent is a big deal here too. You'll need that Form 1229 from any parent who isn't coming to Australia with you.
Now I want you to burn this next number into your brain. It is probably the single most important rule when we're talking about dependent children on a student visa application.
And here's why it's so important. The rule is incredibly strict. Your child has to be under the age of 18 at the moment the visa is actually granted. Not when you apply, but when it's granted. If they have their 18th birthday while the application is processing, they're no longer eligible as a dependent. Timing is everything.
One more key piece of paperwork for the kids. If they're school-aged, which is between 5 and 18, you must show proof that you've already enrolled them in an Australian school. This usually means a confirmation letter from the school showing they're enrolled and that any necessary fees have been handled.
Whew, okay. We've gone through the nitty-gritty for under-18s, partners, and children. Now, let's pull it all together with a final checklist of things you must do before you even think about hitting that submit button.
So what if some of your documents aren't in English? Well, they all have to be translated, but the rules are different depending on where that translation happens. If you get it done in Australia, the translator must be NATI accredited. End of story. If it's done outside Australia, they don't need that accreditation, but they must include all their contact details and qualifications with the translation. So let's boil it all down. Here are your final 3 actions. Number 1, get all your documents translated and make sure you follow the rules we just talked about. Number 2, scan or take a high-quality photo of every single document and make sure it's in color. And number 3, and please do this, keep a complete copy of your entire application for your own records.
Look, at the end of the day, this is all about being meticulous. So many applications get delayed or even rejected because of simple mistakes with documents. Taking the time to get every single detail right from the start will save you a world of stress down the road. It really is the foundation of your new life in Australia.
So as you're pulling all this paperwork together, I want you to ask yourself one final question. Don't just see these as a bunch of forms and certificates. Think of them as the chapters that tell your family's story. Is that story clear? Is it complete? And is it convincing? Because getting that story right will make all the difference.